Hey everybody, it's Corbett Barr from Fizzle, and I'm here with Leo Babauta from Zen Habits today. Leo, thanks for being here again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Today we are going to do something just a little bit different. We are going to do what I'm going to call a Q&A based course, which means I'm going to ask you a number of questions, partly from Fizzlers that we already have people submitted to us, and also partly from a script that we've prepared on effective and engaging writing. So Leo, tell me a little bit about effective and engaging writing. What is it, first of all? Like, what does that mean to you? How do you define it?
Sure. So effective writing, it communicates your message and achieves your goals as a writer.
Okay.
Yeah, so one thing that I do as a writer is like, what am I trying to communicate to people? And it's not just, I'm great, which is a nice thing to do.
Right.
But also, you communicate things like, on my site, simplicity, and that I can help you change your habits, that I can help you as a reader. Mm-hmm. So if engaging writing is one that, is writing that excites people, that gets their interest, that makes them want to change, and maybe makes them want to spread your message to other people.
So I get the feeling that one isn't necessarily the other. So engaging writing might not be effective, and effective writing might not be engaging, right?
Yeah.
You could have effective writing that's boring and not engaging, right?
Well, I think really they do go hand in hand. So it's hard to have effective writing if it's not engaging. You can have really boring writing that's not really gripping the reader, but does communicate something to them. But really what you're communicating then is that you're boring. Mm-hmm. So that's your message that you're sending. So you don't want to do that. You want to send a message that you're a human being that has, weaknesses, flaws, but also you've achieved some stuff, you've learned some things that might help somebody. And so that's the kind of thing that you want to communicate to them, and that you can do it in a way that's going to not bore them to death.
So what's your history with effective and engaging writing at Zen Habits? Like, take me through that.
Sure. Well, to give you a little background, actually I started writing in the newspaper field, and so I learned a lot about writing there, and that actually was really useful to me when I moved over to blog writing. So Zen Habits I started in 2007, and it grew from basically my mom and my wife reading it to 26,000 readers in the end of the first year, 80,000 at the end of the second year, and now I'm at 250,000. So it grew really rapidly. But it didn't just happen by accident. When I first started writing, I had a bunch of different posts, different lengths, different types, different kinds of styles of writing. And some of them did really well. They would attract links and get people to forward it and did well on social media. And then other ones really did nothing. They just kind of fizzled. Mm-hmm. So I asked myself, what's the difference? Like, why are some doing well and some not? And so I did a real rapid experimentation in the first 6 months to a year, and I figured out some things about effective and engaging writing.
So do you have to sort of get inside the minds of your reader in order to understand how to write effectively?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the most important things, starting points, is think about why do readers come to your site in the first place? Like what is it that they're looking for, and what is it that you can deliver to them? And what message can you send to them that's going to be received in a way that will excite them, will change their lives in some way, make them want to make some change or forward it on to people? Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing you have to ask yourself is, why do people come to your site? And for me, the reason that I go to other people's site is some benefit to me. Is this funny and entertaining, some news value, or is it going to change my life in some way? Give me some way to exercise, some way to change my work, some way to change my productivity or my business or my life in general, relationships. So what's the benefit to the reader? What are they looking for? What do they need? And how can you help them with that? Mm-hmm.
So aside from changing your readers' lives, which sounds great and a lofty goal, an important goal, what are the effects of effective writing?
Yeah, sure. So the effects of effective writing are that you, first of all, get the reader's interest, maybe motivate them to change in some way, mm-hmm. and get them excited about something. But then they go on to share your work with other people through email, Facebook, Twitter, other kinds of social media sites like Reddit and Dig. Or they might link to you from their blog. And so that draws incoming links, you reach new readership, new audiences, and people come to your site and then they're curious and they want to look around and see what else you have. Another thing that you do is you start to build this relationship with the reader. If they subscribe, that means they want a continued relationship with you based on what they've seen in the first experience with you. And when they have this continued relationship, they come back, learn from you, and you're now this person that they're learning from or that they trust. And that then builds this relationship where they want more from you, and they might go and buy your book or your course or something that you have of
join your
theirs.
cult.
Sure.
Whatever it is you want them to do.
Yeah, so I think that's a really important thing, is to learn that effective writing is writing that builds trust in a relationship, and it'll build your business. And so that's what it did for me, is I built this huge readership, but I also built people who wanted more from me and were willing to buy ebooks that I put out, because they knew from the free stuff that I'd given them that was effective for them, that I wasn't going to just rip them off, that I had stuff that was useful, that they wanted. And so they were willing to buy from me. And that was great, because I felt like I was earning a living in a way that was true to my values. I wasn't just ripping them off or tricking them, but really giving them something that was going to change their lives, but also make it a living for me.
Mm-hmm. All right, awesome, Leo. Thank you so much for the introduction. We have a whole lot of great stuff for you guys coming up. In fact, speaking of what's in it for the reader, well, in this case, for the viewer, we have a bunch of great topics coming up. In the next video, we're going to talk about getting inside your reader's head. Then we're going to talk later about how to write amazing headlines. We're going to talk about powerful blog post types, how to choose topics that matter. We're going to talk about post structure and word count. We're also going to go over how to write with more impact, just engagement in general. And then finally, the ideal posting schedule for readership growth. So we'll see you guys in the next lesson.